Congratulations, you found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music.
I like to come up with a song on the radio.
YFM.
Listen to YFM 107.9 Accra, 102.5 Kumasi, and 97.9 in Takoradi.
By way of introduction, our guest on the Y Leaderboard series today knows all about taking care of the needs of humanity. From actually saving lives, helping people secure financial liberation, to bringing smiles and warmth into the homes of our vast television audiences across the sub-region with entertainment, sports, and education. He has a diverse and impressive professional background. After 16 months as the Resource Development Coordinator at the Red Cross, he headed two prominent departments at Societe Generale, Retail Banking and Promotions and Distribution. Currently, he is the Managing Director of MultiChoice Ghana Limited and GoTV Ghana Limited. Both are prominent paid TV companies in Ghana for the past 6 years, after working in the West Africa region as a business development manager for the same organization. He has a first degree in zoology and executive master's in business administration from the University of Ghana, Legon. So please help me welcome Mr. Cecil Sunkwa-Mills, our honored guest today. Y Leaderboard series. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Impressive human being. How do you feel when this is mentioned to you, when your list of achievements? Because sometimes we don't take time to note,
Yeah, I guess it's just the journey of life, and we're just grateful to God for it. It's been the journey of life, yeah.
Well, we're great. We get to share some of that journey this morning with you, yeah. So, listeners, if you just tuned in, Y Leaderboard series, and we want you to send your questions to 020-2222-073. That's 020-222-073. Feel free to also hit us up on Twitter with any questions you have, and please do add the hashtag MMRS so we can find it. All right. Okay. So I guess we're gonna get started, and to begin a journey, we have to go into your childhood. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what your family structure was like.
Family structure. My father was a civil servant. Later on, he worked with Barclays Bank. He happened to have come from a family which had a unique name, which was the Sunkwa-Mills. I think they were the first generation, and I know my grandfather, his biggest investment in his children was education, and so there was Sunkwa Clinic, there were a couple of doctors, etc. So that's where I came from. So from his side, there was some kind of a standard that you had to adhere to, and my mother was also she was an educationist. She actually has been a strong part of my structure. She became a head teacher in one of the schools at opposite the Nima police station, and after a while she went to work with the Ministry of Education, and then she opened a school which still exists, and now it's JSS 3. They have all gone to the Lord now. And I have three sisters. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So I sit at the bottom of the three sisters. Now I have been asked to be responsible for a lot of stuff.
A lot of things. We'll talk about how it is to take responsibility after being at the bottom for a while, being the baby brother. But tell us some of your fondest childhood memories.
I think. The best part of it, we all went to boarding school quite early at age 6.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Achimota Primary School, and I think it was quite exciting. But before I went to primary school in class 1, my mother actually sent me to class 1 at Nima 2.
Okay.
So that was a public school.
Okay.
And I had to struggle a bit there because I was 5 years. I was the head teacher's son, and each time I played soccer, I I got hurt. They actually deliberately kicked me, but they helped to structure, some of the toughness that I had. But I kept going back. So there were those memories, and there were a lot of good memories in primary school. I mean, Ashmota Primary then was exciting. Lots of friends, a lot of activities, a lot of things about growing up.
Can you tell us one very poignant one?
Well, you learn how to build relationships, be competitive in sports, and relationships for both with guys and then with girls. If you didn't have a girlfriend, they laughed at you. And what it meant with a girlfriend is probably somebody you could share a pencil with.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Okay. I like that. Someone you can share a pencil with.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Yeah. It was just that, and or maybe occasional sweets and that. But the other thing was that was very competitive academically, and I thrived also in that area quite well. So I think, it was, for me, Ashmota Primary was good.
And what were your high school days like?
High school days, I'm a Kwabotwe boy.
Okay.
I did do sixth form in Ashmota, so I'm a hybrid.
Okay.
So when they fight, I just listen. But I have very great days, and I had very great days in Infansu. And there's some core things that I think I grew up from. Yes, there was a home foundation, but Infansu was very super competitive. And I think that's what makes the name what it is. And it's competitive, not just academics. You had to be completely rounded. You had to do something in sports, other activities, etc. Otherwise, they called you what they call you a waste pipe.
A waste pipe?
Yeah, and you're always bullied.
Wow.
If you didn't do anything, if you're only good academically and did nothing, you're still a waste pipe.
Okay. So you had to be all rounded.
You had to be all round. You had to do something. You had to do something. So it gives you a certain mindset, of a growth mindset. You're not fixed. You never assume that you are this, so you're comfortable in that. And I guess that competitive spirit has lived till now, and that's why a lot of Infansu boys thrive.
I love that. If you just tuned in, Mr. Cecil Sunkwa-Mills, 020-2222-073. Don't let him go without asking your questions. There's a lot you can learn. Please, 020-222-073, and also at Y179 FM on Twitter. So during this time, what were your say in your high school days, right? What were your career aspirations at the time? You talked to us about how you were forced to be all-rounded. So did you know at that time?
Definitely the old boy had medicine in mind.
Okay.
My first option was probably to be in radio or be a DJ. I loved.
How did that come to you then? Who were you watching at that time? Or listening to?
There was Charlie Sam, Kofi Chakbono. I mean, Tommy Annan Forcing. There was one radio station that at that time there wasn't FM. Sorry, I'm old school. Yeah, there wasn't FM, but there was a station you could get on shortwave called Radio Numero Un, which was in Gabon, and they had the best music. They played between 5 p.m. to 7, and you get all the latest music. And we used to gather and record a lot of music, and we knew all the tunes. Me and one of my friends, James Taylor, he now plays also online from the UK. And I think that was my thing. But you see, what my father didn't realize was when we were young, when I was very small, when they had parties, I was a guy who played the LPs for their parties.
And he loved it.
He didn't realize that was it, and then we had to learn how to play the piano and all that. So now that I got out there, I got into Form 1 in Infansu, and I joined the Form 1 band. And I remember he came by sometime. I didn't know they were coming to visit, and he came and we're doing a practice. And he warned me that he didn't bring me to school to do music, and that was the last time he wanted to come and see me doing anything with the band.
Wow.
So that is it. So I floated through. I was good with maths. I was good with science. So I ended up with a math science class and so on. So well, the path was supposed to be medicine, but hey, after a while you find your way. I realized it wasn't for me after my first degree, and I started parting ways. I tried to do a lot of things. I was in business. I was managing a farm. I was doing an NGO work and that. and I ended up in business.
Yeah, let's talk about your transition from high school to doing zoology. Tell us about that, and your now you're in university. More responsibility, more expectations, and you are coming out wondering if you'll be a doctor or not. How did you navigate that period?
I did science in sixth form, so I did not make it to the med school selection in the University of Ghana. I went to Legon, but I got accepted to do zoology.
Okay.
Because the path was that, yes, you could do that pre-med, and then later on you could probably get into it again. Yeah. So the dream pressure was still on. And so I did my first degree in zoology. When I finished, I thought I would do medical research. So I actually applied. I got taken to do entomology with a direction towards medical entomology, that study of insects that bring infections.
Okay. That sounds exciting.
I've still got the science stuff there. But that year I was supposed to go in was when my father passed. So I asked them, I said I would defer, and they said, fine, you can come the next year.
Okay.
But then I was in the middle of so many things. We had a family business, we had a farm, we had a school, and I was working then my national service with Red Cross. So
you were doing national service with Red Cross while you were in school. School. Okay.
So I did my national service, and then they took me on. The role actually was also like a business role. It was a resource development, which is actually a sales, like a commercial business development manager in an NGO environment.
Okay.
And it was going very well.
Okay.
So I thought I was good at rather business and sales and marketing and stuff like that. So I did not go back to do my MPhil, my master's that I applied for, and my mother thought I was going wayward because I was doing all kinds of stuff. I went and registered, and I did some IT. IT was then new, fairly new. There was MS-DOS and DBase. That was my interest. Then I also registered in GIJ, and I did a short course in marketing, advertising. Because I actually wanted to change the way the farm operated. My father used to sell most of the stuff at the farm gate, but I built a shop in Jolu, and I saw that by moving the products from the farm gate to Accra in Jolu, I increased my margin by about 70%. So I changed the way the business ran, etc. And then I said I wasn't going to go to school again. So my mother actually had a family meeting.
Wow.
I got home one day, and there was my uncle, and said, because my father had passed, I'd gone wayward, and I wasn't focused, and I was supposed to go to school. And I told them that I'm not interested, but I'll go to school later. So I think that was it. So it evolved.
What had changed in you that at this time you'd now grown this I would pursue what I want? Because from what you're saying, I see someone with an amazing business acumen, business genius, right? Who can be good at other things, but this was where, but they're telling him do this. Yeah. And at this stage you're like, no, I'll do this. I'm gonna, what changed in you?
So you see, when apart from the work that I started doing in the Red Cross, where it was more commercial, and it exposed me a lot more to things, and I was doing it well. When my father died, my father died when I was 26. So overnight, I had to grow up, because remember that I was the only boy, and then my sisters were also not in country, so I was here with my mother. So there was stuff that I had to do without having to ask. There was nobody to, shepherd me at that point. I just had to run the farm overnight, deal with bank facilities. I just had to do what I had to do.
How easy was that?
Looking back,
mental health, all of that.
Yeah. So I think what I think is that what I had that steered me on was my mindset was a growth mindset. Okay. So I always thought that when something went wrong, probably there's another door open that you could go through, and you keep going and you keep going. You don't stop, because I couldn't stop. We had to, we had loans to pay off the farm, so we just had to do what we had to do, and it was being done. I remember we paid off. Yeah, we paid off the facility 8 months before it was due. You know, and I remember the bank was like, "Oh, why don't we top up the loan?" And I said, "I don't need your loan. I can run on that." So that's how it went. And,
Yeah, powerful. Who are you listening to for motivation in those times? Who are you listening to shape your mind those times? Thinkers?
So, you know, I was having a chat with one of your staff, and I'm saying, when I look at it, there were some fixed figures. I would mention Mr. J. Asado, who was the chairman of Prudential and founder of Prudential Bank.
Okay.
He actually took a lot of quiet time with me, and pushed me into career, asked me, push me forward where I should get to and all that. And then there was another pharmacist, I forgot his name, he was also another good one. And in Red Cross, there was the Secretary General then, Mr. Jedu Adumako.
Okay.
He challenged me a lot in work. And the challenge I meant was he threw me into big projects, and I had to prove myself. And I thought that also really spurred me on. But the other thing I say is that there are also people that you see that you don't really make physical connection with. But with these people, the way they lead their life, and you read about them and they inspire you, they also give you another dimension of mentorship, And I'll tell you, when I was in primary school, there were people. There's one guy, I'm sure you may have heard his name, Siao Tata.
Okay.
He was the person who built ABC, now ABC Brewery.
Okay.
So his kids were my mates in primary school, and he had a number of kids, and when they came to visit them, the different mothers came with the same vehicle, same type, and I admired how he organized his family. But then he wasn't really educated, but he had set up a big business. There were people like Kowus Motors who, same. But I was like, how do these people get around and they do all this, So some things can be achieved without. They were all things that I remember when I saw Sappho Farms, and that. So those were, and some of them Sappho Farms, and that they worked with my father. But those were also people that I never really got to, but I saw the kind of work they did, and it inspired me. And you like, when I grow up, I can be like these people. I saw the people. So.
Okay. Great. You dropped a lot of keys. I hope our listeners were taking them down. And my next question now is about your stint as you were actually made head of 2 prominent departments at Societe Generale, retail banking and promotion and distribution, which is quite different from your work at Red Cross. So how smooth or otherwise was this transition?
So there's a little story. When I was in Red Cross, we used to organize we call them fun games, which today evolved to become I think Joy FM has a Joy Games or something they do at Elwak, and it's So that is how that game that event originated.
Okay.
So Red Cross used those games, those corporate games, to raise funds for the Red Cross, because we needed to raise money to cover part of our salaries and administrative costs to run in Ghana. And through that, MultiChoice was the main sponsor for those games. So they sponsored year 1, year 2, year 3. And then in year 3, when I went there was a sales and marketing manager, Eric Casten, and he called me and says, look, they've been sponsoring these games, etc., and he has an offer for me. So I said, what was it? And he says he had a job opening in MultiChoice. And it was a sales and marketing manager then. So I got into MultiChoice through that. Within 5 months, I had evolved from a sales and marketing manager to a position of operations manager, because they didn't have one. And the operations actually supported the whole customer service, etc., sales and marketing. So it was a slightly bigger role. So I translated into that. Even though I said, well, I didn't have experience. My little IT classes apparently came to bear. So I worked in that position. So I was in that position for almost 4 years. And then I got a visit from a lady from SGSSP, Mrs. Marian Bano. She came to the office. And she came there because they liked the way the customer service was structured then in MultiChoice. And I was the guy who was supposed to be doing that. So she came and we had a conversation, and that's how I ended up in the bank.
Oh, wow.
And what they had wanted to do was to set up a service quality department for the first time, which would completely look at all their processes and policies and write them down and look at how it impacts on the service that was delivered. Because then at that time, it was SSB was very known for having very long queues in the banking halls, which was a problem that kept going on, and they needed to crack it, and they needed somebody to fix it. So then I moved to SGSSB as service quality manager.
Okay.
Within a year, I guess that problem was resolved. There was a department set up, the queues were gone, and then we realized, okay, queues gone, etc., but we need products, we need to, tie up. And then I got appointed into retail banking, to fix up the branches. We recruited people, we started the priority and premier services during that time. And then after a while, they said, okay, now the branches are done, but we don't have enough products.
Okay.
Okay. The same products involved. So then I moved to promotions and distribution, which was a combination of marketing, visa, remittances. So it was in that department that we launched the first Visa card product in Ghana local.
Okay.
We used Michael Asian. So that was one of my big projects that we did then. And then we opened up MoneyGram further and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it seems like you don't limit yourself to one thing. Someone comes up with a new opportunity for some type of work, problem solving, and you jump into it,
It's one of the things that sometimes I think it's that identify. So now I also learn to pull back. That sometimes a strength, but sometimes then you want to finish. So I sometimes get bored when it's the same thing, and then. But I have learned to a lot along the line.
Nice. I'm liking your story. I'm liking all I'm learning. So there's this question we want to ask. As head of departments, you've come across a lot of young professionals. What caliber of young people did you have working for you?
So it was a mix. Was this during in
any of the
So it's a mix. You don't choose who works for you. Sometimes you're thrown into. It's different if you're setting up a new department that you have to recruit. So you don't choose who works for you. You meet people, but understanding what is behind the people is actually what helps. So it's a whole mix. People have different aspirations and etc. But one of the most important thing is to communicate with different people differently, and that's how you manage to reach them and also develop them, push the message. Yes, you would have the common communication which goes across workplaces, but you will find that on an individual basis, which happens, and you should also look for the opportunity as a leader. You're able to translate better and understand who you're dealing with. You may find somebody in the team who seems always on a particular angle, either passive aggressive or always doesn't agree or is always not talking. So when you pick such people and you manage to have the one-on-one discussions, and this doesn't have to be formal. It can be informal. So you find one of the things that people will tell you all along at work. I always eat with everybody. Where everybody eats is where I eat. Which some people say, where I come from, the boss doesn't eat with staff and all that. But this is the informal. So you find that people open up, and you'll be surprised at the things. When you're going up, you actually get cut off from a lot of business information that you need. Because when you're up there, you're busy with meetings, etc. But when you have these sessions, so young people, they will tell you straight away, and sometimes you get some of the most brilliant ideas. But just because some people may not be able to express this on a bigger platform, so they will not talk, or they'll feel they'll be shut down, or they're not confident enough and all that. So the different young people, of course, but like I know I've said this before, it's okay to make mistakes twice, sometimes thrice, because sometimes mistakes guide you into the right place. You cannot always be right. But you try, once you have the effort and you keep doing it, you don't keep repeating the same mistake more than 3 times. When somebody is doing that consistently, then you have a problem on the same mistake. It can be a different mistake, a different error, but as they progress, and like I said, everything is a journey. And as you go along, you find this does not work. Maybe there's an alternative, and you look for it. So long as you're not fixed and you keep going, you go. So there's an opportunity and I've worked with so many people, and they're in so many places now. So many places.
And I wanted to ask, do you think in workplaces, workplace mentoring should be actually set as a KPI for senior employees? And if so, what form should it take?
Yeah, it's good to be formalized. Because it makes senior management also aware of the need to develop your teams. It's not every senior person who may have that kind of makeup. So when it is structured, it is good. And one of the things about mentoring that I was saying is, and I think I mentioned, is that when they say mentoring, usually we think of somebody older and more experienced. Sometimes there's peer mentoring, which we don't actually look at, and it's very powerful because young people tend to listen to their peers often and take stuff from them. Sometimes we see only the negative parts, but you find that among your peers, there are some people who are more matured, some people who are more experienced in certain things, be it good, be it bad. Those people can actually take you along. So it's something that we also need to look at. Peer mentoring is also another streak that tends to evolve in young people. So that's why old folks will say, I want to see who your friends are. That is it. That is it, because your mates, your peers that you can look up to. There's a guy who always say, "Oh, come on, let's go," and you're always following. But if he's taking you to do good things, that's what happens.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that peer mentoring. So that puts responsibility on ourselves within our circles, right?
There's a lot of emotional intelligence that young people need to develop. You've got to look at yourself and remember that what you call the world is the world that you have perceived around you and your environment. That is not the world. It is what you have seen as the world. So if you say, and the world is against me, it is probably just your environment or what you perceive that is against you, or the world is great, that is within you. But there's a bigger world. So once you're on the journey and you examine, you find that you can actually aspire, have different goals. You can tweak your goals. If something is not working and you look at it, there's a conversation I had. I'll just, but it's about school. And somebody said, well, I didn't go to university, I stopped at this level and that kind of thing. But I'm like, okay, but who's going to spare you to go to the next level? Nobody, it's you.
It's you.
Okay, so if people think, you stopped at this level, and that, you decide if you want to go to the next level, or you decide you must make that decision. Once you've made that decision, then you say, how do I do it? Then you can get help to do it. But it's always available. So there's a lot of emotional intelligence.
What does that mean? What does that mean, emotional intelligence?
You just assess yourself. Look at what you want for yourself. Okay, what makes you, let's say, start from a point, what makes you happy? Bottom line. And yesterday, maybe we're talking about young people, but even it's for everybody.
Yeah.
What makes you happy? For some people, it's a mix. It's a mix of things. Happiness is a mix. There's no clear definition. Also, what will make you feel successful? Somebody will say, "Oh, if I get money, I'll be cool." But the people who have money, they're never cool. Okay. Somebody will say, "Oh, if I get a degree, I'll be fine." Yes, you go ahead, you get it, you solve it, but you've come out and you realize that there are a couple of other things that still, you got a degree, but you don't have money. You know, you don't feel loved. You know, and that. So you must do your checklist of stuff, and then you do your prioritization. Which is important, which is not. You want to go to school, then you get that, you get that, you get. And there are some boxes that probably it may take a long time to tick, and you realize that, well, maybe this is not necessarily right.
So mistakes actually help you sometimes with that.
Yeah,
kind of.
You know, we call them mistakes, but sometimes they tell you that probably you're pushing the wrong door.
Okay.
Maybe there's another door just on the left, so you try this one, it's locked. This one opens and the opportunity is there. But if you take it that well, like I said, our family, we've never done well with school, or we were never good in maths, or when we marry, it never works, or we that. Then you have a fixed mindset. When you have a fixed mindset, you basically are finished. You're not gonna move on. But if you take it that well, there's some people who come from certain backgrounds, but they thrive. Why? What's the difference? It's because the mindset of growth and trial. They want to try. You make mistakes. They still want to try something else. They want to, and then it happens.
Yeah. Thank you. And my final question around this time, around your career, is what were some of the most important lessons you learned working in the banking sector, which you find applicable in your everyday life?
The big one, now I say, was the day I got called by the MD, Mr. Thompson, and says, tomorrow I want you to move into retail banking. And my question, what I said, sir, I haven't done banking. And because when I went into banking from MultiChoice, formerly there were people who had done the banking courses that people do. They've been in banking for 20 years. They knew policies and procedures in their heads, and they had the banker thing. And retail banking had over 700 people who'd been in banking. I mean, there were 38 branches. It was huge. So I said, but I haven't done banking. And he says, I know, you can do it. I know you can. So I was quite hesitant, and I went there, and I found out that it's actually, by doing the processes and the procedures, rewriting them, aligning them through service quality, basically the activities behind these processes, I actually had most of them in mind. I understood what it should be, And I pulled the team along, and I guess the team that I went with, a mix of experienced and young people, and we pulled something really good, really good. And I think that was slowly when Societe Generale came through and also bought the bank, and they retained me still in that position.
Okay. Great. So let's talk about your family life now, right? What has been that key element that has enabled you to hold your family together through the years?
That's my nuclear family.
Yes.
It's God and the wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's she's Janet, and we've been friends for a while, and it's also a journey. There are challenges here and there and all that, and you keep pulling together as a team, and you're working on something that that is not going to. You're not looking at an end game. It's a journey.
Yeah.
So you would have the same challenges will come through, but if they come through, you must pull it through. And for kids.
Yes.
Parenting.
Yes.
Definitely with two different people. she would be a bit more nurturing, closeness and, food and stuff like that. I can fit into that a bit when she's absent.
Okay.
But we kind of share the roles that she takes care of the inner core of family care, and I kind of found myself doing the outer core. So yes, I will be fiscally responsible for making sure the gate is secure, the car works well, and those external things, and then there's the core of that, and a lot of family and friend support.
Okay.
And it's mutual respect for each other is so important. You just respect yourselves. You never have a banter in public.
Never have a banter in public.
In public, in front of the kids. Never.
Okay.
Never. You can settle, and it actually just doesn't work in marriage. It works in all relationships, even at work.
Okay.
As much as possible, even if somebody has to be reprimanded. Okay, unless of course it's an extreme case. You find one-on-ones are more effective. Reason?
Okay.
If I scolded you in the presence of everybody in this room, I bet what will be going on in your head is that, damn, the boss is embarrassing me in front of all my colleagues, and meanwhile probably you've actually done something wrong. But then all that I'm saying at a high-pitched voice and all that is actually not going into your head. You're more emotionally distraught about the way I'm embarrassing you, and you're gonna probably walk out of the room feeling like the world is over and I'm mean and all that. But if there was nobody here and I sat with you, even at a high pitch, and I was very clear with you, that's a difficult conversation, and we have it. When you leave this room, there's nothing about embarrassment. Almost everything I have said would have sunk through. And you know that it's not about trying to embarrass you. I'm actually speaking to you about an issue or some issues that needs to be fixed. And probably if it's only me and you, then I don't even need to scream.
Okay.
So sometimes people say, how do you handle you're calm and all. But these are ways that you manage, and the output is better. So it's like we've had a private conversation. I've respected you. At least at the bottom of it, I expect respect back. So you find that between me and you, we have something we're looking out for, and it actually gives a lot of results.
I think
we do the same for parenting with kids.
Okay,
you scold your son in front of his brother, and he feels the same. Embarrassed. In front of his friends, even worse.
And they always remember it.
Yeah. They missed the message completely. But maybe your message was right. So you go back and said, did I do anything? I told him, look at what he did. And I was saying, isn't it right for me to tell him, yes, it's right for you? But you basically missed the shot.
So what fundamental principles do you raise your children on?
It's a fairly open relationship.
Okay.
And kids, they learned how to negotiate with me very early.
How old are your kids now?
20. Yes, that's me. I know my wife will say, look at it. 20. I think 20, 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
20 and 23, two boys.
Okay. And you were talking about how the principles on which the open relationship you have with them.
Yeah. So it's more not authoritative. You set the boundaries, which is very important. Okay. And it is the do's and don'ts should be clearly communicated. Not necessarily, it's not a fight, but the rules are expressed.
Yeah.
And you make sure that you keep to it.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't the same. I've talked about how you speak to them in public. You give them their space, etc. They respect your space. They can ask questions when they want, and they speak to you even about their relationships now.
Okay.
I mean, quite early and that.
Okay. And you're open for that.
Yeah, very open. And I know one of my sons. When he was about 9. And he would negotiate for his Christmas present based on the fact that he will do well in school.
Okay.
And what he wants for his Christmas present, but he wants it in July. So that in December he will not have it because he will do well. And I'm scratching my head. This guy's trying to be a bit smarter.
Yeah.
And so those are some of the structures. And we just thank God that we've been able to, have that kind of an open meeting. But there's sometimes when, especially in choice of career, etc. It's not been easy conversations. Sometimes you wish that, but I learned from my experience. Okay. Don't push them into a career line that you want as a parent.
Yes.
You can have a conversation on it as an option. If they pick it up, that's fine, because it just happens that sometimes, as young people, they're like, in their head, like, I want to do my own thing. Oh boy, that. And it's just natural that it comes that they want to do their own thing. Probably what you want them to do is good, but they also have their dreams. And let them tow it. Support them to tow it at the right time if it turns out, and that. But once you have the open and you're going back and forth, probably you have a business. But he's not interested in running the business. But with time, he can go do what medicine, pharmacy, whatever. But as you go on, he probably will come back and he can take over the business because he's fulfilled his wish. You've guided him through, and he can now reason with you that whatever business you have is probably going down, and then he has a foot in there. But we've seen a lot of cases where when you push, they actually walk far away from you.
Yeah. So what are your son's dreams right now? What do they want to do? What are they pursuing?
They are all in their dreams. The other one is he's completing medicine.
Okay.
That's what he wanted to do.
Okay.
He initially was medicine, then he wanted to be a pilot. I guess his uncle was a pilot, is a pilot, so that was also nice. Then he said research, then he came and said medicine, and finally he's doing what he wants to do. And
Grandpa will be happy.
And then the second one, he has been interested in IT for a long time, ICT and stuff. So he's pursuing a degree in computer sciences.
Okay. So listeners, if you just tuned in, as a Wide Leaderboard series, we've got Mr. Cecil Sunkwa-Mills here. If you have any questions, it's 020-2222-073. And you can also hit us up on Twitter at Y1079FM. Do add the hashtag MMRS. So now I want us to talk about DSTV, GoTV, and the West African audience. So what do you find peculiar, right, about the West African audience, which stands out amongst those from other sub-regions across Africa?
The West Africans, it's mainly, I think, our culture, and our culture drives into the two main things that I saw a lot of similarity: our food and our music. And I think some of the origins of where people came from, etc. So you find a kind of overlap. Across the region, you see we eat a lot of spicy food. When you move towards the east, it's different. So our music and we can dance. You find a bit of that jumping into South Africa. But they don't eat the chili we eat. But this runs all the way through, Nigeria, Cameroon. I worked in Liberia, Sierra Leone, a stint in Senegal, touching Guinea.
So you worked in all these countries?
Yeah, I did some work in Burkina Faso, Niger, Cote d'Ivoire, etc. One of the things that separates us more is language, which is mainly the official language, which is English and French. But you find that besides that, we tend to identify with each other with ease, a lot of ease, and I think our structural build is quite similar. The difference is a bit of the northern and southern different look. You get taller and that, but. In general, this is one of the common streaks that I found. So you find that when it comes to content and movies and music,
Yes.
we have a similar consumption pattern
Okay.
within this based on our cultural, the culture that we know, we identify with it quite easily. So you would find when Africa Magic launched in the early days, I was working in some Francophone countries, and all they watched was Africa Magic in English.
Oh, wow.
Because the language became secondary.
Okay.
They could understand the village
Story,
scenes.
yeah.
They identified with it.
Yeah.
We use the same herbs, we use the same palm fruits, we plantain and same stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cassava, similar stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So that then informs the marketing, that then informs the content development and all of that.
Yeah, the content development has actually, in the last 8-10 years, there's been a huge shift towards local consumption.
Okay.
It's something somebody dubbed a word called Afri-consumption. A couple of years ago, if you just look outside and look at the number of restaurants that have Ghanaian food on their menu. It was not that sometime a couple of years ago. You know, look at the way we dress. If we're going to a formal function, it's got to be a suit and a tie. Now, it's even if those wearing a suit and a tie, then they put on a kente tie. You know, so the consumption of in fashion, in food, in music, that's what now we consuming. If you do a party or you go to restaurants, look at what people are drinking a lot more. We're drinking the local beer, the Club, the Star, etc. Then I'm not promoting it, but there's Adonko Bitters, Mandingo 3-1.
Yeah.
That is what people are drinking. Okay, it's unfortunate that, I won't say it's unfortunate that they branded Akpeteshi badly.
I know.
But you know, I had an opportunity to go to Brazil, and there's a drink they have called Caipirinha. Caipirinha is an international cocktail, but the base is cane rum.
Okay.
The cane rum is bottled beautifully and sold across the world. But what is cane rum? It's the same as Akpeteshi from sugarcane.
Wow.
So yes, we have lost a bit of time, but I see that now the Akpeteshi is being bottled. It's being used for there's some smash cocktails in Osu and stuff, and we realize that when people are actually consuming, but we should just package it better. So I mean, the consumption pattern has changed, so and people are even watching. We're watching a lot more local. Content, consuming a lot more local than ever. Our challenge is how to invest in the monetization structures. So that is also coming on.
What do you think has caused this shift into more, into more local consumption, would you say?
I think it just happened with time. Yeah. It just happens with time, sorry. A lot more people are identifying a lot more with their ethnic connections.
Okay.
We've seen those our brothers and sisters who were far away, taken away by the slave trade, always looking to seek your roots and where you come from, and looking at what is authentic, what is original. That is the trend that has come through now, and it's come through with a lot of the youth in terms of even clothes. Somebody wears a suit, but you find he's got beads on, you know, and native sandals and that. So the trends are changing to authentic, original stuff to be consumed, and that is what is happening. That is what is happening. The shift is happening. There's I don't know if it's people waking up.
Africa rising.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to know what your primary considerations, what were your primary considerations when you were setting up Go TV? Were you losing a certain demographic audience, or was it a strategy to several facets of the television market?
Yeah, it was an evolution of distribution platforms. Remember that even before, Go TV is digital terrestrial television, DTT. Now, even before that came, we had digital mobile.
Okay.
Because we realized that now people wanted to take their content along with them. So we actually had some units that we introduced called the Walker Drifter, where you could sit and then link it to either a tablet or your phone or something. Now, this is just evolution of distribution systems. So remember, we had analog first, then came satellite, which brought the digital dimensions. And even with satellite, we used to have a 4-meter dish, then it came to 2.7. Now we're using a 90 centimeter dish. So it's evolution, and as a business, you must move with what the trends come. So digital terrestrial came through. It came through mainly to make more efficient the way we use frequencies. So now what happens is that previously, whilst every TV station has a channel, now there was some innovation where you could use one frequency for 24 channels. Okay. Which means, and that is what is allowing 5G to evolve, because then it means that if we had now, I don't know how many stations we were 133 stations or so, it would have meant we need 133 frequencies. But now you can take, if it's 24, you can actually package all the 133 or more into, say, 6 frequencies. And then the rest of the frequencies, that bandwidth, moves into the other space, the telco space, where now we're getting developments like 4G, 5G, and going forward. So it's an evolution of technology. So whilst that evolves, then what happens is that you can actually create a product within that ecosystem and have a different clientele base. So that's what we invested in.
I've never ever thought about the efficiency of frequencies. Never. And I'm liking this conversation. And with technology and how fast it's developing. Earlier this year, with the whole COVID-19 scare, there was a whole lot of talk about 5G and people saying it's the cause of COVID-19 and all of that. So thank you for telling us at least a little bit about what this really is. Anyway, so I want to ask about DSTV has evolved on a massive scale from the time a subscriber needed almost a quarter plot of land, like you described, to now. What do you think has kept you in the lead till date?
It took 3 days to install a satellite dish. You need cement.
Wow.
You need a pole.
Wow.
It needs to set and dry. And when there's a storm, you don't have a signal anymore.
Wow. After all that work.
So it's the same with evolution. You find that you could deliver signals more efficiently. So the bigger dish was C-band. The different bands in terms of satellite delivery. And we realized that you could actually use another band called KU band and deliver the signal direct to the people's homes. But KU band, the nature of the signal meant that you could deliver it on a smaller surface, which meant you could use a smaller dish. The only setback between that and C-band is that if there's very heavy weather, you will get a temporary disruption of the signal from the satellite to the dish. But usually it does not take that long. It happens even with in the temperate regions when there's snow and that. So the evolution, and the big thing is that it's a huge savings. I remember the big dish at a certain time was around $3,000 to get a full set. I mean it's huge. Then it kept dropping, it kept dropping, and now a 90 centimeter dish is maybe not even 200 cedis. So that whole evolution of technology, new innovation, you must incorporate that into your business development systems.
So Big Brother Niger has been a huge success over the years from its inception with a massive following in Ghana. Is BB Ghana the offering? Is it even going to be considered? And how soon?
Big Brother Ghana. I think some time ago there was a Big Brother West Africa that was tried. And then the whole Big Brother thing where the whole continent came through. BB Ghana. Who knows? Anything is possible. Like I tell you, everything is a journey. So you never know when Big Brother Ghana. But I think, we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay. And MultiChoice prides itself with a very culturally diverse workforce across all your offices. What comparative advantage does it give you as an organization?
No, it does. Remember that the focus for our business, yes, one is our people, and you find that when you're in country, when you have to deal with a lot of the communication issues, we tend to understand ourselves based on where we come from a lot more, and it tends to also reflect in business. Yes, there's an international commercial language, but for a service that we have where you've got thousands of customers, for example, we take it, especially in our sub-region, for example. When you go to the east for customer services, you may have Swahili as a unique language, but even that, it comes in different intonations based on the dialects of the locals. When you come to the West region, Ghana alone, how many languages do we have? Quite a large number. So if you want to have separate, you go to Liberia, you go to Sierra Leone, even English. Somebody will speak English to you from different countries and you will not understand what they're saying. So to allow us to also reach customers more easily and understand, and also reach them both in marketing communications and also receive their feedback, etc. It also helps. It also even goes to the level of even dealing with our stakeholders in country. So you've got a good cross. So as a strategy, we actually do a lot of localization and strengthening, and it also helps to create opportunity within the country, even though the business is present. And so you find that in most of the countries, they have the business partnerships and ownership and stakeholders are across of both external and internal stakeholders and shareholders.
Okay. And this year so far, how has COVID-19 impacted, the organization's plans? How are you practically managing the situation, and what should we look forward to as the audience?
Well, I think the biggest thing that we focused on was also our people, and we worked quite quickly to make sure that our people were safe so we could continue to deliver services to our customers.
Okay.
So as we speak, most of our staff are still working from home. So the interaction, COVID is not over.
Yeah.
So they're still working from home. Schools are still closed. So we kept our people safe, and they've been able to deliver, to our customers. People stayed home. We did some special offers where we dropped prices for people during this, when the situation was quite tough, and people responded quite well. And currently, the group is also beginning to do some new developments in terms of content development. In Ghana, for example, I think we've announced we're coming up with a Ghana unique channel. Called it's Aquaba Magic, which will be launched sometime in March, and it's going to focus, which will be focused on the creative industry here.
Nice,
and that. So the only downside is, of course, with the closure of hotels, but they're beginning to bounce back. In the depth of COVID, most of the hotels closed. The pubs and clubs were also closed.
Okay.
But with the steady opening of some of the hotels, most of them are beginning to open up now. Business may not be as great as it was, but we've seen them plowing back slowly. And also the opening of the open pubs and clubs around the country. We're beginning to see that sector of our clientele also coming back. We also did a partnership also with government, where we actually also put the Ghana Learning channel on our platform to help to assist in distribution during COVID. And apart from that, we've also done some social interventions. We've donated some PPEs. We donated to the East. We did some at Comfort Noche. A couple of weeks, we also did some to the Cape Coast hospital.
Okay. So I want us to move the discussion now to your executive membership of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, the national body for all media managers. And I want to know about how the experience has been for you representing the media industry at this highest level.
It's been interesting. It's been challenging. It's a very key role, and GIBA is in a position of making sure that the broadcasting business is sustained, the professional levels are as expected, and also as a liaison with government to let this development happen. They've been involved in different aspects of developing of the industry.
Okay.
In different aspects with the regulators, with the ministry, and us, and between broadcasters ourselves, and making sure there's enough discipline and that. And we collaborate with government also on different fronts, especially when they need to do mass comm. GIBA steps in. We work with the AIDS Commission. We work with NCCE. We work with they prevent accidents. What's the name of the organization?
It's escaped me myself, but
for example, to prevent accidents during Christmas. So they channel some of these through GIBA. We work with also international governmental organizations and communication. They've done training for journalists towards the coming election, for collaborators in that. So we bring the industry together as a central point, and we also translate the needs of the industry to government, and we lobby for positions and push for positions to make sure that it develops. It's a lot of work.
And how easy has it been? And I'm sure there's lots of tagging, people expecting things, people feeling under-delivered.
I guess, like I said, you see, it's a journey. And being in an industry, sometimes your understanding may also be different from what somebody who sits out of the industry. So by the engagement, you all come to meeting of minds.
I hear that.
For example, we're currently also working with even the film classification committee.
Okay.
To look at how we need to classify movies on TV. Yes. We need to make sure that it's done and everything. So there are different facets. We're involved in all these discussions.
Big work. So Ghana's media industry is said to be overpopulated, and others have also mentioned that the increasing numbers have affected broadcasting standards in Ghana. In the era of fake news, do you think it's time standards such as minimum capital requirements and certifications for journalists are introduced to sanitize, in quotes, the industry?
So these are also some of the discussions going. I mentioned classification of movies. It's one of the things that is required. With the number of stations, yes, we have received also from some industry people some of the challenges in terms of the number of stations, and that. But I guess constitutionally, anybody can apply and get a license and can broadcast. There's that freedom that is guaranteed. So at what point do you draw it? That's left to the regulator. So those are some of the conversations we have with the regulator. At what point does it make commercial sense? Because the regulator can actually draw the line, on that. But currently, I think platforms have been distributed. We have a large number of stations, but it comes with its problems. Now, with a large number, not all the stations necessarily are members of GIBA.
Okay.
So some stations are not.
Okay.
But what happens is that now, when you don't need to rein them into control with some form of group ethics, it's a bit of a challenge because they're on their own.
Yeah.
And what the biggest challenge is content is limited. So you will find with a large number of stations, everybody's either trying to create some content or illegally use content, etc. So you find piracy also becomes rife. And currently, in terms of distribution, we have not yet tied up the policy for distribution on the DTT network.
Okay.
So most stations are riding on a test basis now, so they're not paying anything. So it has actually created a situation where the competition for eyeballs is even. So for stations that are investing money, they may not be getting the competitive exposure because of the even distribution system. So those are some of the discussions that are currently ongoing. We're hoping that we tweak these and tie these up, and then there's a clear way forward.
Okay. I wanted to ask about how you deal with group ethical situations with maybe networks that are not signed on to GIBA. You know, how do you solve issues when issues come up in those kind of cases?
We normally do a lot of collaboration with the NMC, because NMC has a role to the constitutional role of dealing with content and its management among these platforms. And so we actually go through and work with them on such issues to look at how we manage these. However, we do send messages directly to such stations.
Okay. So these are our leaderboard questions of the day. What level of partnership exists between MultiChoice and content producers in Ghana? How should content producers position themselves to benefit from future campaigns? Future campaigns?
Yeah, so I think the future is here. We have already announced one of the biggest projects that we're doing, which is the launch of Aquaba Magic. But before then, I would like to say that we had already started something in partnership with Iroko TV, which is Rock GH, on our platforms. And they have already been licensing content specifically from the Ghanaian creative industry. And we only gone another step forward. Also for music, they launched Trace Jammer. Trace Jammer was specifically for Ghanaian music, and that also sits on the platform and takes it across Africa, which was another effort. But the Aquaba Magic, which is coming, is actually another very big project. And it has a lot of licensing has actually started in earnest. And through them we've also partnered with the National Film Authority, and they had an initiative that is currently running for film producers and animation people and that whole industry. They did some competition. And we currently have 25.
I heard about it.
Yeah, we have 25 people who have been selected and shortlisted. And we remain partners for that. And the 25 people are going through training, and they're going to production. And this is the beginning of a long journey. And what I told people is that when they launch Aquaba Magic now, it's only the beginning of a journey, because the channel will continuously need content. Okay, and the only way we can support that this will thrive is that we make sure the content is good, and then we also subscribe to put money back into the business and keep that cycle going.
Beyond your duties as managing director of MultiChoice Ghana and GoTV Ghana Limited, do you find time to relax and unwind at all? What do you do to relax and unwind?
I love Chelsea.
Okay.
Yeah, my blood is blue. A lot of people know that, and I find time also with friends, and I watch movies, and I try not to take work home. You know, that's one way I relax. And occasionally I just take time off, and then once in a while we go off out of town.
That's nice. That sounds nice. And we want to know how you measure success. What's your most valued life mantra?
Success. For me, success is when I'm happy. You know, be it for the moment or for a term. And the reason why I say that is, you know, based on experience, and I learned that especially from when I worked with Red Cross. You know, it took me around a lot of places in this country. We're running some small money loan programs for women, families, and we saw the transition of before and after, and the after impact of happiness you see in a family. And the family, the children, they're healthy. They're not rich is relative, but the little things that brings content in people, and they are at peace, I realize it's not circled. It's not money. It could be not feeling loved, not necessarily that married, but feeling loved.
Loved, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The people who may not, that box is not ticked, but they're very happy. Okay.
Yeah.
And so your measurement of happiness should be you should build what your happiness is.
Yeah.
For somebody, it could be he just wants to get educated and educated and educated, and that is what brings the happiness. So for me, momentarily, if everybody is at peace around me and content, or for me, that gives me a lot of inner joy.
From what you're saying, I'm hearing, our happiness is based on you. It's individual.
Yeah.
It can't be someone else.
And it can be dynamic.
It can be dynamic. It changes
based on where you are.
Yeah.
Maybe at a certain time you think it's money, then you get it, and then you realize that that's not it.
Yeah.
Now it's this. So it keeps changing.
Yeah.
As you get older, probably what brings you happiness is that you visit the doctor and all the boxes are ticked. And that is your extreme happiness. It's dynamic.
Yeah.
So we must make sure that we focus on what is important then, that is content, and what is necessary.
Okay. Okay.
You lock your mind and you say it should be this, and you find that you actually waste your energy, resources, and really that you could have it and you still don't think you have it.
Great. You've shared a lot of powerful things with us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, though, what is your final words to the youth listening to you right now?
Yeah. So what I keep saying is learn to develop. Don't go for a fixed mindset. Go for a growth mindset. Okay. Nothing is cast in stone. Yes, mistakes can only be the key to your next step. Okay. It's never too late to pick up something and go on to the next one. Okay. If something doesn't happen now, it can still happen. But what is most important is that take your time, look at yourself, and look at what are the most important 6 things that you want to do. Okay. You can write them down. What you want to do, what you want to be. Okay. Somebody said, I want to get into do something that will help people so that they'll see me. And how do they want to see you? Maybe as I'll be in the marketing department. What if people would want to see you as the MD of that company? So when you have set your mind that, I want to be seen and make the impact, so I want to be the MD, or I want to be the head preacher of my church. Look for the big one. Stretch yourself. Go for something higher. When you have a vision of something that is much higher, okay, you will find that your plan to get there will structure your way forward for a growth mindset. Okay. And remember that no matter where you come from, nothing is fixed. That our family this, I've never done, or I've never. No, nothing is fixed. Nothing. Everything can be dynamic, but you have to get it going. So go for a growth mindset. Examine yourself. Build your emotional intelligence. Know how you feel, and then come up with your life plan of where you want to be, and then take it step by step.
Oof, powerful. This is church. Thank you so much.
Open a church.
Yes, you should. We'll definitely come. Mr. Cecil Sunkwa-Mills, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for what you also stand for in the society, creating. And I mean, this is our mentorship, just that you exist by diffusion, you've blessed us. So thank you very much.
It's been a good opportunity.
Awesome.
Thank you too for having me.
Awesome. All right, so listeners, we're jumping straight into more music with DJ Ganj. Sit back, enjoy the rest of the ride till 12 p.m.
Congratulations, you found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music.
I like to come up with a song on the radio.
YFM.